Welcome to Day Zero Update for September 14th, 2025. I'm your host, Chris Elogi.
I'm Brandon Perkins.
And I'm Dan Red Victorio.
And yeah, we've got a big week of news here. We had two different showcases of note.
Yep.
We had the Nintendo Direct and the Play Acclaim showcase, where they showed us a decent bit of what they've got going on. And outside of that, we got some industry news, including some Nintendo news in there, as well as some other stuff that's happening in the near future.
Yep.
But before we get to that, we'll talk about what we've been playing. And I'll kick it off here. Probably one of the main things I've been playing this week is Hollow Knight Silksong. I put some more time into that, made some good progress. So I also think the game not well suited for a Steam Deck because the D-pad is just not that good. Since one of your main movement abilities is your ability to do the diagonal slash, which you're holding down an attack for that, but you're also often trying to move over, and sometimes the game does not really get that I'm trying to hold both down and right to do the downward slash and also move over. Otherwise, Hornet will just fly up straight into the air. This is over for those things, and yeah, it can be a bit annoying at times. Luckily, so far I've not run into any real places where that would be a huge issue, but it's definitely a concern of mine with this. But otherwise, it plays fine on a Steam Deck. Though I would probably rather play with my DualSense Edge that I think has been the best controller I have for this game. Just because the D-pad feels real good on it. And all that. So yeah, that's probably the main way I'll play, but I've been making some good progress. Beating a couple bosses, all that. There's one very weird boss that you'll find that doesn't really like anything and is one you can easily skip. It literally just shows up in this big hallway where it sticks to the ceiling and kind of just vomits acid at you. It has various platforms along the way that you can hide under, but it does have the vomiting thing with such regularity that you can kind of only get one hit in at a time. You get up, get a hit, and go hide back under, and it kind of wiggles around a bit while it's doing that, so it can get you from the sides with the vomit if you are not paying attention. And as like all the bosses, it'll take down 2 pips of health with each hit. So with the 5 you start with, you can lose your life pretty quick if you're paying attention. But yeah, I've been able to take it out and deal with that, and that kind of makes it easier just to get to the next area. And one of the early abilities that is really nice to have is you get the dash run, which essentially is your air dash kind of thing. But also if you hold down the right trigger after dashing, you'll just keep sprinting, and you kind of get some good acrobatic jumps off of that. Which also means that if you try to do it on like short platforms, you'll just run right off because it's a dash first. And that takes a certain amount of distance for that, but that's real nice to have, especially because you get to some more areas that are long to get across without any enemies in them. Maybe some that do have enemies, but you can just kind of get around them. And they do introduce one of the areas you get to early on has lava on the bottom, but then you get to one that has kind of coals that you can kind of stand on for a couple seconds before it turns into fire. So it kind of lets you get across those pretty quickly. But then you maybe run into enemies that are annoying and can survive on those just fine. But they do have a lot of nice touches to this game, like on those kind of areas. If you kill an enemy, their body will burn up in the fire. kind of thing. You'll see it disappear, and it's like, oh, that's a nice little touch that this game doesn't have to do. You get to another area that's got, let's say, some ant themes to it, and you see like little ants scurrying along the ground that don't do anything to you, but you kill the enemies, and the parts that they drop will kind of slowly get moved across the platform, and then once it hits the end, they just kind of pull it into the ground, kind of thing. And it's a lot of nice little environmental touches like that. That is really nice for this kind of game. Kind of helps flesh out the world a bit and make it feel a bit more lived in. Um, which kind of contrasts with the first game where a lot of that is pretty static outside of a couple of points where they maybe change some things. But yeah, really liking Silk Song still, and gonna keep working on that. The other one I've been playing is Everybody's Golf Hot Shots, the new game in that franchise, and it's kind of a weird game to play because there's two modes essentially. There's a story mode that's called, I think, World Tour mode, that has anywhere from like 5 to 7 story chapters to them, which
Right.
are fairly bland story for the most part. It depends on the characters themselves. It can be interesting, but the writing isn't all that interesting. I've been trying to skip through them while still reading them, but not lingering on it. The weird thing, by default, the auto advance is on. So when I hit the button to show the text, it immediately skips to the next thing. I'm like, oh
Right.
yeah, I gotta turn this off. Which it does have the option to turn that off automatically. Um, that's just a weird thing to have on because there's no voice acting for a for dialogue. So it's like, you probably don't need that. They're not going to say anything. But yeah, you start that with the first two characters, and it seems like this is the mode that you unlock characters from. Because I played most of, I forget what his name is, the guy that you get at start, who's a very emo, moody person who's got a lot of his lines in when you're playing golf are very much like, "Oh, the darkness is taking over me," like being overly dramatic. And it seems like the undercurrent of a lot of these stories deals with the evil golf syndicate that is trying to take over golf. And you find out this character's relationship to the organization and all that. And he runs into one of the characters from his organization and kind of finds that out and is like, "Oh, so I got the darkness for real." "Yes, you do." And he's like, "Wait, I'm just joking with this, right?" He's like, "No, but you really got the darkness in you." And he's like, "Well, I'm gonna kick your ass in golf," kind of thing. And so, yeah, there's a bit of anime stuff to it, but there's mostly just straightforward and it's just very wordy in a way. It's like, I feel like you could have streamlined this a bit um, for that. But yeah, then you do a round of golf. So far, it's usually been 6 or 9 holes. Sometimes, throwing in some nice little tricks, like one of the rounds I had invoke the tornado holes, which means you get the ball close enough, it starts getting pulled in hole, which makes it easy for you, but also for the opponent. Sometimes it's a versus game where you're directly facing against them. Sometimes it's a tournament with other people. And I had one that was basically you're just trying to get the better score, which was interesting because it never tells you your score. It just tells you your score per hole, and I had to add that up to be like, okay, wait, I am behind by this many strokes, that kind of thing. But alongside that stuff, they have 3 goals you need to complete for an S rank on each of these chapters, which usually includes like one, win, one that's might be like use your power shots at least once, or don't use your power shot, or use spin, or something else gameplay related. Another one might be to have some stats, like it might be like 20% of your shots with your timing or something like that. But I did have one of the chapters where the character was so cocky with how much better they were than you. I was like, "Oh, do you want handicap or not?" And that's part of the challenges was like the A route or the B route, which the B route, the handicap was essentially just larger holes. Which I ended up taking because I was like, I want this to be a little bit easier. But the AI on these things is not great. I imagine because they don't want it to be super challenging for these. I'll see them fuck up even more than I do, even though they're supposed to be, elite golfers. And there's kind of a bit of dissonance with that, um, which is pretty funny to see, especially when it's like I'm behind and I can see that they're clearly fucking up more because they want me to get back into it. And so that's an interesting thing to see and that kind of thing. The other mode is basically it presents you a series of tournaments, both official and unofficial. And I'm not really 100% sure what the difference is between them, the unofficial or official. I guess might just count towards stat tracking because it'll keep track of like longest drives, longest putts, longest chip ins, that kind of stuff. So I guess that must be what that means. They do have a pretty lengthy tutorial just running you through everything. But yeah, it seems like you do a certain amount of these tournaments to get to the next difficulty level of them. So I guess you're just playing that for grinding out your character levels and your caddy levels, which unlocks different things. I have my caddy leveled up pretty good, but they can equip stickers, and I can't buy stickers, so I'm just confused by that part of it. But your golfer can, as they level up, unlock more, like more power shots you can use in a round, and various other little bonuses, as well as unlock more equipment that you can buy. Because after you finish rounds of golf, you get paid, and you can go spend that in the shop to unlock more clubs types. Ones that will enhance different stats and sometimes decrease other ones as well. I think it's the ball, the club. What else? There's food you can get that boosts up your stats. Taking them and then it's the number gets red, and I assume that means I shouldn't use them anymore. So I don't know what that is all about. I might have to look and see if there's details in uh, the tutorial screen stuff and see what else it says about it, because I might have just glanced over some caveat to that. But yeah, you're kind of messing around with all this, and the neat thing is they have, I guess there's more clubs that golfers use these days. So they have some of that stuff in there. They're designated by letters W for the woods, I for the irons, and there's U for like utility clubs that aren't like your wedges and putter and that. I think it's other types of clubs. So they do have options. You're setting up your club loadout to have different focuses. They have like classic ones for just give me some damn clubs and let me play. But they do have more fancy ones for how you want that stuff mixed in, which might just be dependent on how good you are with different clubs. And yeah, it's a little tough going early on because you got to get the timing right. And the weird thing is they don't have any sort of sync options to make sure that the timing is right for what you're playing on. Because essentially at its core, it's a rhythm game. But it's that kind of stuff is like, I don't know if I'm missing some of these in weird ways because I'm missing them or because there's some extra bit of lag on the TV or something. It's that kind of weirdness to it, and I've had weird revelations that my shots are going further right than I thought they were going, and it's not because of like wind or something. It's like something's on that's causing them to further right because I would be trying to aim, for the fairway or the green or something end up further to the right than I was expecting. And once I started adjusting for that, I started getting better shots. But I don't know if that's a bug or what. But yeah, there's some weird stuff going on with this, but it's still pretty solid. And I guess the other caveat is that they were using AI to create textures for the leaves, which I don't know why you need to do that because they're just leaves. Like just make them and move on.
Yeah.
But they mentioned that on their Steam page. Though I'm playing on PS5, so it's the weird thing. But yeah, that's kind of what my thoughts are on that so far, and I'm still working my way through it. Being a golf game, it gets kind of tedious at times with that stuff, but yeah, seems pretty solid. Outside the AI thing, I'm trying to double check if they added anything else on it. Just tree and leaf textures are created using AI generated images. And it's like they're trees in a golf game, a Hot Shots golf game. It doesn't require realistic look on this stuff, but I guess they wanted to take shortcuts, so there's that. But yeah, it looks good. Would agree. It still has that like old gen golf game thing where the grass looks like it's just pushed down pictures of grass, pretty low textures and all that. They do have nice effects for when you get perfect shots and all that. But the other stuff kind of looks like what I would have expected this game to look like on the PS4, which may end up getting me to load up Everybody's Golf on the PS4 and see if I've forgotten what those games look like. I think the characters do not have the classic Claphon style of character design. I think they're a bit different, but I need to do a little comparison just to be sure on that stuff. But yeah, that's everybody's golf hot shots. $40, so they're not asking for full price on this, but it's still basically what it is. So there's that. And that's it. So yeah, what have you been doing, Brandon?
Well, as for me, I took advantage of my PS Plus subscription. I've been playing a crap ton of Psychonauts 2. I played that game back when it originally came out. And really liked it, really enjoyed it. And there was, that game is really, really good, and I still highly recommend it to anybody who wants to play it. Especially if you love the first one. The first Psychonauts is still a pretty good game, even though it definitely shows its age. In a lot of ways. Psychonauts 2 is definitely a prettier looking game. Still pretty disturbing in parts too, especially in the part where it's like, oh, we're like in an office, and then it slowly morphs into a teeth and tongue world. It's like, yeah, the game really, like at the beginning, basically warns like, yeah, if you got any of the following phobias, you might want to think again, and dentophobia is one of them. But I'm still amazed at like just the incredibly creative level design that game has, especially when it comes to because like all the various individuals, they all have like their own little psychic worlds inside of them, and they're all like incredibly like dreamlike and surreal. My personal favorite is still the one with Cassiopeia. She has that sort of, because she has this thing where like all of her like mental archetypes have sort of broken off, and like one archetype has essentially decided to try and imprison the rest of them. And the archetype is a librarian, so most of the world inside is based around like a library, where there's like a bunch of books and stuff, and like illustrated characters from various books, and also like everything is like molded out of like paper. So, it's like a lot of paper sculpture and everything, and it looks so good. It's so pretty. Damn, it's such a good game. And the other thing I'm playing a secret game I cannot talk about just yet, because I don't think the embargo lifts until the 19th. But Needless to say, I'm also very much enjoying that game, partly because it is heavily, heavily, heavily inspired by another certain game. In fact, I would say it's so inspired by that other game that in some cases it's damn near plagiarism, but I'll talk about that another time. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. So, Dan Reb, what about you?
First off, I think I want to edit out that embargo date mentioned, even though you didn't mention what game it is, just to be careful.
All
Anyway,
right.
yeah. First of all, I want to apologize to both the viewers and the staff here. I was here last week, but I passed out in the middle of the podcast because this was after a certain game in the NFL season, and we played
Uh-huh.
really well. And yeah, I got pretty drunk, and that's what happened. So yeah,
Yeah.
apologize for that. Apologies for that, but I'm pretty sure it's an understandable situation. But anyway, I do want
Uh-huh.
to maintain some form of professionalism here. So there's that. Anyway, before I go on with what I'm playing, I do want to talk about. I do want to run through what I played at PAX West. You know, we just
Mm.
came back from PAX West. It was an awesome time, and like as you guys have seen, like SmashPad has really increased its content output over the last few months, and like a big part of it is just me being able to go to these events, meet the PR people, you know, behind the emails, you know, introduce them to myself as well as SmashPad so that we continue to get more stuff. And sorry, it's been really successful, and I'm really happy with where we're going with that. So yeah, it
Hmm.
was definitely a good time. And yeah, played a bunch of games. A lot of them are RPGs. As you guys
Hmm.
know, while I'm an RPG guy, I generally hate previewing them, primarily because like you know a lot of this stuff is not really going to be changed, and for the most part, you don't see any of the content that you're playing end up in the final game, primarily because you know it's a build away from home. That being said, like these were opportunities that I did not want to turn down. I had meetings with Square Enix, and behind closed doors, I played Dragon Quest One and Two, FF Tactics, and Octopath Traveler Zero. Um, so I'll just quickly go over those in a little bit. For Final Fantasy Tactics, I am someone who isn't really that big a fan of that game. I do
Hmm.
enjoy strategy RPGs, but the main reason why I'm not a fan of Tactics is just its overall slowness. I find it to be a whole lot more slow than like the rest of the strategy RPGs out there, despite it pretty much beginning of the genre. And you know, with the I don't really want to call it a remake because you know it maintains a lot of the same systems, although there are some quality of life improvements. But the main thing is that they brought in voice acting. You know, people like Ben Starr and a whole lot of well-known voice actors do lend their voice talents to this game, and it definitely adds to the immersiveness of the title. But the main reason why I was not gung ho about my preview is because there weren't enough quality of life stuff things for me. Those of you who have played Tactics know that whenever you make a move, you have to like choose where your player is facing, and this is not uncommon with a lot of strategy games. But like one thing that I don't particularly like, and it's hard for me to illustrate it just by talking about it, but like if I'm gonna put my unit in front of another unit and attack, and I'm not gonna automatically attack it, like for example, you're gonna have me aim cursor at some other place. I hate that. Like I don't understand why, you know, you have to choose attack and you have to choose a specific unit when there's only one unit in front of you. Like it's pretty obvious what you want me to do. And I just find that to be an unfortunate waste of time and like not something that is ideal in 2025, especially when games like Triangle Strategy and you know a bunch of the awesome games from Vanillaware do away with that. So that was
Hmm.
disappointing for me. Moving on to Dragon Quest One and Two. For those of you unfamiliar, yes, three came out last year, but one and two are the next entries in the Urgic trilogy. So that's what
Hmm.
happened with that. And yeah, they're like pretty much you know what they were in the past. In the original Dragon Quest, you only have one hero, same hero, and then in Dragon Quest Two, it eventually increased the people in your party. So when we played Dragon Quest One, the main thing that we did was we tried one of the new quests because there is some new content in here, and we ended up fighting Robin Hood, who was one of the funniest antagonists in the three. And yeah, we did away with him, but it was also pretty difficult because again, like you only have one character, and I was thinking that you know enemies there, I had to use my magic the right way, but apparently the right way to go about it was to actually use physical attacks on everyone. So the PR guy, Chad, bless his soul, like congratulated me on a job well done. He told me that 50% of the people actually got the boss. Actually, when we got to Quest 2, we had to go through one of the towers, and I had a really hard
Hmm.
time with that tower. For those of you unfamiliar with the Dragon Quest games, towers are pretty much like a big thing here, and navigating
Oh
them
yeah.
is easier said than done, especially in the 2D games. Like if you've played Dragon Quest 8, Dragon Quest 11, they're a whole lot easier than they are in the original stuff. Like it actually requires you to use your map in such a way where you know your positioning and where you're going to come out from C to D. And I struggled with that. We had half an hour to get through that, and um, I just kept not going to the right place. And he was warning me, he was like, "Hey man, like when you get to this boss, like I am really looking forward to seeing what you do because not too many people have beaten this boss, and you did well in part one, so I want to see you pull this off." Unfortunately, I spent so long at the tower, and I got to the end. Once I got to where I was supposed to go, I actually fell off the tower, and from then on, you have to start over again. And obviously, with me taking as long as it did to scale it, I struggled there. So I never actually got to. So I feel like I let the PR guy down. So yeah, Chad, I'm sorry about that. And then last was Octopath Traveler Zero. This was the appointment that I was excited for the most, primarily because I am an Octopath Traveler fan. The first one was my game of the year it came out, and then the second one I did not play. This one is sort of an offshoot off of the mobile game, but at the same time, it is a full game with that. The main difference is that you do have to sort of like raise this town and build it from the ground up. I generally hated that. Luckily, we only had to do that for 5 minutes, and then we went to the quest line. And yeah, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Octopath Traveler battle system, it's pretty dense. You have to know the right time to attack, to defend, and when to double up your moves, similar to the Ready Default series. And I kind of struggled with that at first. I ended up dying at the boss, but I gave it a try. And the other difference here is that you actually have 8 people in your party. So you start off with 4. So a lot of strategy actually took 4 to get through that demo, and it was a good time. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one when it comes out in December. Moving on, I also played Trails Beyond the Horizon. It was a tutorial. It pretty much showed you how the battle system works. The main thing it did was it pretty much brought back Brave Orders from Trails of Cold Steel 3 and 4, if you guys remember that one. Not a whole lot to say there, but you do get a glimpse of some of the characters available. You use 2 parties. The first party had Van, Burgard, and Brandon. What's that little girl's name? The darker little girl with the purple hair, and she's a Jaeger.
Uh, and
Yuri or
shit.
something. But yeah,
God, I'm.
it was her.
It's
Don't
we're talking trails, right? Because
yes,
like
yeah.
that there is like a laundry list of characters in that game, and I'm like having to through in my head. What colors are her
Fairy,
hair
it was
again?
Fairy,
Fairy,
Feri.
right?
Yes,
Yeah,
it
her.
was her. So yeah, she definitely had her same lines, so that was cool. And then the other party was a power party. It included Reen, Altina, and Kevin Graham, who you guys might know from the Trails in the Sky trilogy, the main character in Trails in the Sky the Third. So yeah,
Yep.
they were definitely OP in their own right, and it was cool being able to see these guys there again. And the reason why like they were like joined was they were in pretty much the equivalent of what the uh Guard in the in the Calvary trilogy. So
Hmm.
yeah, that was also pretty cool to see. Moving on with Nintendo, I did not have any official press reservations with Nintendo, but I did have what which the public used, and I played Kirby Air Riders and Pokemon Legends. Kirby Air Riders, I honestly don't know what to think of it. Mind you, I never played the original, so I don't know like what it actually is. We did get a hang of the controls. So basically, Kirby actually moves on his own, and you can use the B button to do a charge boost. But when you're charging, you don't move, so you want to use that wisely. And then we played a whole bunch of mini games. One mini game required us to fall down through certain hoops, and then the other game was chaotic battle mode, where you want to be able to find as many positive items as possible. And I'm pretty sure I didn't even know what I was doing. I thought I was doing a good job, but I ended up being in 4th place out of everyone who was playing. So that was weird. So I think this game is going to be like $70 when it comes out. So that being said, it's a rough price of admission for me. I am interested to play, but I don't know if this is going to be a day one purchase for me. The other one was Pokemon Legends ZA, and this one I was really impressed by. It takes, it pretty much has the same battle system as Pokemon Legends Arceus. You end up using the trainer most of the time, and then when you unleash your Pokemon, you can go ahead and use your moves from there. But the main thing is that the battles sort of take place in real time a little bit. But it's not like Arceus where, it essentially had the same turn-based battle system. It's more like Xenoblade, in the sense where all of your attacks have a cooldown period, and you use them at that time. So there was this one point where we were fighting against an over-leveled Pidgeotto, and the main way you beat it was by poisoning it with a Weedle, letting the Weedle die, and at that point you just wait for the Pidgeotto to keep receiving damage from the poison until you absolutely have to bring your other Pokemon out. So using that little tactic was definitely a way to cheese the battle, but I think it was also the only way to actually end up winning. That was a pretty cool thing. Mega Evolution is back. You end up going against this Mega Absol, and then from there we're given a Lucario who can also Mega Evolve. And the battles are pretty much the same here. Again, you use your trainer, and all of a sudden you have your Pokemon to use your attacks at the right time. But as the trainer, you also pick up these little orbs that you can collect in order to use up and have your Pokemon Mega Evolve. So after Lucario evolved like 3 times, we were able to win that battle pretty easily. So yeah, that's definitely a game that I want to get on day one. And then last but not least is Crimson Desert. This was probably my game of the show. It's developed and published by Pearl Abyss, and this game is a third-person open-world action game. Pretty much in the vein of Zelda, but it kind of feels like Skyrim in where almost everything is interactable. You can talk to everybody and things like that. It has a pretty interesting battle system. Every sort of you can switch to a staff and things like that. But it also has pretty cool melee mechanics. One cool thing was I was able to run around at a bunch of infantry and use RKOs, and that was pretty cool. So yeah, this game ended up being delayed to 2026, but when it does come out, that's definitely a game that I'll keep in the radar. So anyway, that was PAX. It was a good time, and I'm definitely looking forward to all these games coming out. Moving on to what I'm playing now. First up is Trails in the Sky First Chapter. This game is not out yet, but I am allowed to talk about it because this game has no embargo for whatever reason. But I think the main reason is because it's remake. So there's that. So all of the plot points are known from people who are, fans of the series.
It's damn near a shot for shot.
Yeah, it's obviously upgraded. We are looking at visuals that pretty much outclass everything that Falcom has done in the past. And like the main differences between First Chapter and like the Calvard series is the fact that they kind of reverse the controls a little bit. Like one thing I didn't mention when I was playing the Beyond the Horizon demo at PAX is the fact that I felt stupid because I was running with the wrong button. I kept using the controls to change my view, and it wasn't changing the camera the way I wanted it to. So there was a little bit of that, a little bit of that weirdness there. But it's just stuff that you can get used to. The cool thing is that you can actually change your button layout, so there's that. But at this point, I've already gotten used to what I'm doing. The main thing that I'm not liking with a remake, and I don't know if you've played the demo, Brandon. One of the things that I do, especially in boss battles, is you have a timeline of your characters when they can use their abilities, and you also have a timeline of when the certain battle effects show up. So, for example, if you see an exclamation point, the exclamation point means they're going to have a critical hit. In previous Trails games, you go ahead and use your S break to essentially steal that effect, and in First Chapter, it doesn't do that anymore. So I don't know if that's a new thing or if I'm doing it wrong, but that's something that I've had to reprogram because it's definitely affected the way that I've entered fights. So I'm happy to see changes, but I'm not really fond about this one. Anyway, as of right now, I'm like 30 hours in, like maybe a little bit more, or just towards the midway point. I am on chapter 3. I think there were 5 chapters in the original game. I am in Zeiss. So I've discovered, I've met Tita and all them, and yeah, like, again, I've never replayed the first game, so being able to see a lot of these key beats, again, in like full, 4K has really been heartwarming. Like, for example, last night I finished chapter 2, and chapter 2 was the one with the orphanage. you know?
Hmm.
And like I don't want to say too much, but like something happens to the orphanage, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden like something is done to like sort of fix that situation until it just goes to crap again. And the way they handled it, over 2 decades ago was nice, but the way they redid it in this 3D like definitely did it justice. There was the school festival which had a play which was awesome. The play was a full 30 minutes. I just sat there with my dinner finishing it, and yeah, it was overall a great time. My other main annoyance is the fact that um dialogue also isn't there. There's definitely more dialogue than the rest of the 3D Trails games, but at the same time, like it's disappointing, like going through a cutscene conversation, and all of a sudden, like Estella and Joshua aren't like talking anymore. Like, okay, well, we're back with this. So, you would have thought that with this whole new era that Falcom is entering, that they would have addressed this. But aside from that, everyone is great. It all sounds awesome. I'm honestly not that big a fan of Estelle's voice actress. But that's just a matter of preference. Johnny Young Bosch does a great job as Joshua, and I'm looking forward to his plot line as I continue to play the game. But yeah, I am hoping to have this review up sometime this week. But again, like this is a long game, and I have other games to go ahead and talk about the next one. Um, by then the embargo should. I've also played Lego Voyagers. I've beaten this over the course of 3 weekends, and I've played this with my girlfriend. So those of you who are familiar with Lego Voyagers, this game was first unveiled during Summer Game Fest, and it is an Annapurna title, and it is unlike any other Lego game we've seen before. A lot of the games have relied on IP. They've relied
Hmm.
on they've relied on a slapstick comedy in order to just go ahead and set forth the pace for the game. But no, this is a cozy um uh lineless adventure. There's no spoken dialogue in this game. Everything is going to revolve around both the music as well as its level design, and it does a really awesome job with all of it. You play as two Legos, and they only have like one piece each. They're really small pieces, and the only things you can do in the game are roll, jump, and attach yourself to other Legos. And of course, being in a Lego world, everything is a Lego. So you'll be using like everything in your environment in order to get from point A to point B. If you see a big gap that you can't jump over, normally you'd be able to find other Legos and make a bridge. If you see a mountain that's too high to climb, normally you'll be able to find other Legos and make a tower to climb, and things of that sort. And there are a whole bunch of other like um things to use. There's a Lego boat, there's a train, and all of that. And like the main thing with this game is that it's a buddy game, and the main thing that they want to do is go to the Space Command Center so that they can go to the moon and go to space or whatever it may be. And it ends up having like quite a um heart-wrenching narrative that we really enjoyed. I played with my girlfriend who is not a gamer at all. She has never rolled the credits on anything. We've played, Mario Kart, Mario Party, Mortal Kombat on several occasions, but she's never really played anything from start to finish, and I'm glad we were able to have this experience and finish this game. It was a little, tough doing that, and this game is not easy by any means. There are definitely some parts here that require some skill, and when you guys read my review, I'll be able to like talk a bit more in depth there. But anyway, it was funny because PR mentioned that this game would take around 5 hours to beat. I talked to other journalists, and they said that they took around 3 hours beating it with their children or their partner. It took me and my partner 8 hours to finish, and that's not really like indicative of the skill of any of us. In fact, there were 2 points where we both were just stuck. So obviously, if I was stuck, she was stuck because I was pretty much leading us through it. There was one point where we have to fix the train tracks, and we didn't know that because the world was so big. I was just focused on other things, and the things I was focused on had nothing to do with what we were supposed to be doing. And then there was another point where we have to like land, or we were playing with sort of like a claw machine where you have to like land this toy on a target perfectly, and it requires like manual dexterity of like knowing when to launch and knowing. So one person uses the launch mechanism, the other person tries to angle the ship, and if you crash at any point, like you'll lose. And like the most frustrating thing was like this was like one of the final puzzles in the game, so I was like, this should not have been required, especially as far as accessibility, with the fact that this kind of puzzle is not in any part of the game. So That was a bit disappointing, but I can understand why it's there. And at the end of the day, we did, and we're better for it. And again, I had a really good time with that. I am also playing the game that Brandon mentioned. Can't talk about it though.
Nope.
And there's also another game that I've been enjoying as well. So yeah, we're in the middle of review season. We're not
Yep.
getting any less busy, but that's about it for me.
All right. Yeah, we got a new PlayStation Plus game catalog lineup for September here.
Yep.
It'll be going live here on Tuesday on the 16th. Some interesting stuff. So yeah, for the extra and premium tiers, for PS5 and PS4, WWE 2K25. So you can check that out. So yeah, I definitely at this point don't recommend paying for WWE stuff because they have shown their colors, fully supporting the administration and all that. This is a way you can at least check this game out, putting down more money for yourself. So
Yeah.
there you go. I've heard solid things about this game. But there you go. Let's see. Also for PS5 and PS4, Persona 5 Tactica. This is the sort of follow up to Persona 5, based around turn-based strategy stuff going on. I remember playing a decent bit of this game and really liking it for what it's doing here. So that's one you can check out. Because they kind of go off into a different story, but with most of the crew from the original game. So there's that. Let's see, for PS5 and PS4, Green Hell. If you're wanting your open world of survival simulator game, this is one of those set in an Amazonian rainforest style environment. So there's that. Let's see, yeah, PS5 and PS4, Fate Samurai Remnant. Yeah, this is an action RPG in the franchise, so yeah, that's one you can check out. I don't know if this is a 2D game or a 3D game. I'm gonna double check here real quick. Let's see. Okay, looks like 3D.
Yeah.
So there's that. Looks pretty neat. You're wanting some spooky stuff, so they got some of that for you. For PS5 and PS4, Crow Country.
Yep.
The game that's kind of a mix of classic Resident Evil, and classic Silent Hill.
Yeah.
So the proportions of characters are more N64 style, I would say.
Yeah.
A little bit of that, or maybe Final Fantasy VII as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I've heard good things about that. So if you're
Oh,
looking
yeah.
for some spooky stuff to play over the next month or so, this is one you can check out. Yeah, and then for PS5, The Invincible. This is one of those really interesting games I've seen based on a book, and all that. That looks really nice.
Yeah, I've played this. It's pretty good. Just like the environments and the actual like overworld look absolutely gorgeous. Just don't expect necessarily the same of like the character models. Because it definitely has that East European jank in it.
Yeah, but yeah, that's one. Yeah, it says 11 different endings, so when you can replay a bit. Yeah, if you're wanting more spooky stuff, there's Conscript for the PS5.
Yep.
This is a survival horror game set in World War One. Yeah, it says here you play as a French soldier searching for his missing in action brother during the Battle of Verdun.
Yep.
So yeah, looks neat. I believe this is also PS1 style graphics for this, so that's another one of those retro style games.
Yep.
Yeah, top down and all that. So yeah, that looks neat. And that's it for that tier. For the premium only tier, for the classics, they have Legacy of Kain Defiance, PS5 and PS4. This is the PS2 action adventure game where Raziel and Kain team up.
Yep.
So that's neat. I'm not sure if they have any other of these games left to put on there. I think we've gotten them all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's the two in the collection, Soul Reaver games,
Mm-hmm.
and Blood Omen 2, and then Legacy of Kain Defiance, which was the last one
Mm-hmm.
in the series. So yeah, that seems to be it largely. Yes, I think is the last one that Amy Headache worked on.
Mm-hmm.
We're moving over to Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog. Yep.
So yeah, this one you can check out as well. So
Mm-hmm.
there you go. That's your lineup, and got some pretty good stuff.
Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to playing Crow Country. I've wanted to play that one for a while. I just never got around to it. But yeah, definitely, it's definitely like right up my alley. Probably check out Persona 5 Tactica as well, just because I love Persona 5. I might check out some of the other stuff too, but definitely Crow Country.
Yeah, anything you're interested in, Danra?
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird month. I wouldn't say I'm interested in any of these things, but I am like happy for those of you that are. For example, Crow Country is a game that I played at GDC this year, and it just proved that like this genre is pretty much like not in my wheelhouse. So I'm glad that like it's there if I want to go back to it and know that I don't really have to pay for it. So there's that. And Persona 5 Tactica, that's also on my radar, but I also have it and I just never opened it. So I guess now I don't have to open it anymore. And there's that, and I just don't know if I'll have time to do it. WWE 2K25, I actually really enjoy. Good game. I don't care for the island. And it's
Hmm.
funny because this game only came out a few months ago, so I do think this is a rather early release, and the game did sell well as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, as Chris mentioned, like I am a huge WWE fan, but now that they've confirmed the whole Saudi Arabia thing, like I don't really want to spend much money there anymore. That being said, like I do want the games to continue, so I'm a little bit in a rough spot with them right now.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go for that. We got some demos people can check out. The first one up here, Digimon Story Time Stranger has a demo. It's out now for
Hmm.
PS5, Xbox, and PC. So you can check that out. Yeah, I'm gonna have to see. Let's see here. I'm gonna try and see if I can find out if the demo carries things over.
Hmm.
A lot of them lately have been doing that.
It
Um,
does. This one does carry over.
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can check it out and be ready for the launch in let's see, October 3rd. So not too far away.
Hmm.
Yeah. I forget if I've talked about it before, but I did play two demos at Comic Con, and I was actually really impressed by this game. I don't really have much of a Digimon history. I did watch the first two seasons and enjoyed those, but I did not play a Digimon game prior to these demos,
Mm.
and I was actually really impressed. The world looks great. The battle system is actually really good from what I've played. And there was actually a 3 hour demo I was invited to during PAX West, but I only had time to go to demos during my lunch breaks, and I couldn't afford 3 hours. But everybody that came out of it really enjoyed that time. So I haven't put any time to this demo, but I'd imagine the codes are going to be going out soon. So I'll definitely hop on this when I have time.
Yeah. Yeah, looks like this gives you a good chunk of the early part of the game.
Mm.
Let's see. Do they give you any bonuses? It doesn't say anything, I don't think. But yeah, that's one you can check out right now. We do have one that'll be happening later this week as a Sonic Racing Crossroads. We'll have a single player demo launching on the 17th, which I believe is Wednesday. So that's one you can check out. That'll be on everything:
Yep.
PS5, Xbox, Switch, and PC.
Yeah, we have covered this game extensively. We have three previews, including a look at the beta that Mike went over last week. And yeah, this one is
Hmm.
shaping up real well. It's definitely going to be a nice alternative to Mario Kart World. At
Mm.
the end of the day, they'll still serve very different uses. But like,
Hmm.
if you were to ask me like which one is better, based on what I've played for both, I honestly I think it's Sonic. So yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of wish that they had crossover stuff in the main game versus the way they've been announcing it, well before launch. that kind of makes it seem like it's in the game, but it's actually all paid DLC that you won't get any character audio or anything. They'll be completely silent in the game. Unfortunately, they'll be, obviously different from all the Sonic characters that are in the game, which is a shame, especially when you're asking more money for those characters.
Yep.
Yeah. There you go for that. Those are your demos of the week. We do have some stuff coming out in the near future. And this one looks interesting. Battlesuit Aces will be out on October 7th for PS5, Switch, and PC. It's the new game from the studio behind Battle Chef Brigade. It was a really good game. Had a great art style to it. And this one seems to be similar in style. Trying to emulates like a more retro anime style to it. But also this one is a card battling RPG game, so plays very differently from Battle Chef Brigade, which was more of a platform action game with puzzle elements that you use for making your food. This one very much has a lot more, card battling stuff to it, so that looks pretty neat, and it's nice to see them have a new game come out. I am looking forward to this one. So yeah, there you go. Something to keep an eye on. Let's see. Yeah, after a few days after that, we finally got a new date for Ys versus Trails in the Sky. Alternative Saga. That is the fighting game that is a crossover between Ys and Trails series, and all that came out ages ago in Japan, but now they've got a new company helping to localize this and all that with Falcom and Refint Games, and has it coming out for PS5, PS4, Switch, and PC on October 10th. The physical edition through limited run games. They'll probably be announcing details on that later. But yeah, looks neat for what it is. But yeah, it's definitely still looks like a fighting game made quite a while ago. So there's that. Because I believe it was made on the PSP.
Yeah, like this game was pretty much made to take advantage of the assets that Falcom built during that era. And they had two really good games at that time. It was E7 and then obviously Trails in the Sky, FC and SC. And yeah, they just found a way to cross them over, reuse those assets, and all of a sudden you have a Power Stone-esque fighting game. That being said, like nothing about this game is really that great. It's definitely interesting to play, and it'll definitely like fulfill, some fantasies as far as like bringing the East and Trail series together. But the problem is that it's like kind of lost in time because we've seen like a lot of games in both series come out since this game came out, and that's a lot to catch up on. So really, this just serves like its history, and for fans that really want it in English, this is the way to do it.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that. Let's see. Yeah, the other one here that I've got, Halls of Torment, getting a big updates called Bardcore, alongside DLC called the Boglands, and the console versions for PS5 and Xbox Series X and S are all launching on the same day, October 28th, which is exciting. This is one of my favorite games in this subgenre of your auto shooting survival games like Vampire Survivors and all that. This one goes in the Diablo, original Diablo kind of style to it. With the game set, part of the screen is almost in a 4:3 resolution, while the rest of it's used for giant UI elements. Similar to what Diablo was, though it's oriented a bit differently just to fill up a 16:9 screen. But yeah, this is one of the better games in the genre, and I'm excited it's going to be coming to consoles. Be able to check out. The Bard Core update adds a new character, the Bard, with some new abilities, artifacts, and some other stuff for the game. And the DLC adds a new area. I believe 2 characters with it. 2 new heroes and new quests and such to go with that. So We're adding a lot of content to the game, and all that will be available at launch for the console versions. So, yeah, this one was that I do recommend checking out if you want. One of these games that is doing some cool stuff on its own. But yeah, there you go for that.
Awesome.
Yeah, we got a couple more announcements here. This was, I think, something that was only in the Japanese Nintendo Direct.
Mm-hmm.
But I still got an email about it from Capcom because they don't give a shit if Nintendo doesn't want it on their, English directs. But they announced Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection. There's on everything PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC for next year. These are all the Star Force games, which are all the DS games that are essentially follow up to Mega Man Battle Network.
Mm.
RPG games I almost don't remember any of these games. Those weren't the games I was interested in on the DS.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like they maybe tried to innovate by having 3 games out at once. There's 6 games on this list, or no, 7. This looks like the first one. There's a Leo, Dragon, and Pegasus. Maybe it's like a red, blue, and yellow. I don't know, but the sequels just had 2 versions each, so I don't know, but yeah, finally bringing those over, and it's like they're running out of series left besides the Legends games to get their own collection. So I don't know what's taking them so long, but here's some more Mega Man RPG like monster collecting stuff for you to check out, and yeah, that'll be next year at some point.
Yeah, it's at the very least, this is definitely a good fit on Switch. I never played any of the Star Force games, but that was primarily because I was burnt out by the Battle Network games. And for those of you that played Mega Man Battle Network, yeah, they were essentially sort of card-based JRPGs, but they were very action-based in the sense where they took place on a 3x6 plane, and you just wanted to make sure that you were dodging and shooting at the right time with the right equipment. The main difference with Star Force was that instead of having like the action, well, the action was still in third person, but they also took place over Mega Man's shoulder. So it was different in that regard because they really wanted to showcase like the depth of the DS. But honestly, it wasn't really that much different. And then the reason why they had versions was I think it was just their way of trying to capitalize the same way that Nintendo and the Pokemon Company did with Ruby and Sapphire, red and blue, and whatever it may be. Where the main differences were some of the characters you had different kinds of abilities, but at the very same game. So yeah, I don't remember if there was like a trading mechanism and to really have you both for a reason. But at the end of the day, Capcom has done a heck of a job with their re-releases, and this will definitely scratch the itch for some people who enjoyed that era. At the same time, like this is very thought of as the low point of Mega Man, but at the same time, these weren't bad games, so it's good to see either way.
Yeah, I was looking at the wiki pages for each of these games, and they all have like Metacritics of around 60. So not terrible, but not amazing in any way.
Yeah, it was also during a time where if you were a sequel that came out and you were pretty much the same game, you were automatically 3 points lower. So different time.
Yeah. So there's that. And this is a follow-up to a thing we'll talk about in the direct. They gave a date for Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. And they also announced that that Rebirth will be coming to Xbox and Switch 2 at some point. I don't think they have a date on that yet. As well as the third game will be multi-platform. So presumably that'll be happening probably in the next couple of years. Here, depending on how much stuff they're going to put into that game. Because I feel like Rebirth being such a huge game, it was a bit of a detriment to it. Because you were setting yourself up or signing up for a game that could easily be 100 hours with the side content and all that you could do in it. So that's not as reasonable as what Remake was, which you could beat in like 30, 40 hours. depending on how much stuff you wanted to do. But yeah, there you go.
Mm.
Some news for that stuff. But yeah, let's get to some industry news, especially for Nintendo. They won a $2 million settlement and permanent injunction against, this guy that sold mod devices for the Switch, Ryan Daly. He sold devices like the MiG Switch, MiG Dumper, by his modded hardware's website. Initially denied any wrongdoing, but has now agreed to pay the company $2 million in a settlement to avoid going to court.
Mm.
He's accused of trafficking and circumvention devices, copyright infringement, breach of EULA contract, and tortious interference with contract. He's now admitted as part of last week's order to violating both copyright and the DMCA's anti-circumvention law.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this guy also didn't have a lawyer, so he was defending himself. A great way to go about things. Sort of ended up in this whole thing. He was also ordered a permanent injunction that prevents him or anyone else working on his behalf from selling, providing, marketing, advertising, promoting, distributing, or otherwise trafficking in any devices whose purpose is to circumvent any technological protection measures contained within Nintendo video game consoles or video game software, including but not limited to devices such as mod chips, MiG dumpers, and MiG switches. So that's one more on the Nintendo lawyer ninjas taking out one of these people. So there's that. And yeah, speaking of legal stuff, seems like Genki, the Switch 2 accessory maker, who essentially 3D printed a model of the Switch 2 to show at CES last year, especially for the items they were making for it. Nintendo has, they sued him back in May, accusing the company of infringing on its trademarks by using the hype around leaks to market accessories for the upcoming hardware. And so this week, both sides reached a confidential settlement that, among other things, bars Genki from ever calling one of its promotional streams a direct. They're permanently enjoined from using the terms glitch, glitch 2, Genki Direct, Genki Indirect, or any other similar rebranding or approximation of Nintendo's intellectual property, products, product names, characters, etc. For any accessories compatible or marketed for use with Nintendo's products, implementing product packaging, product designs, product descriptions that fail to make clear to consumers Genki's status as an unlicensed accessory manufacturer. They also agreed to payment in an agreed upon amount in the confidential settlement with Nintendo. Not really too much of a surprise there. They kind of just invited Nintendo's interest with the way that they had their 3D printed replica of the Switch 2 at CES this year. That was a fun whole thing, and kind of just invited this whole trademark infringement lawsuit because I don't know that Nintendo really had anything major they could do other than going after these minor things. Kind of getting a payment of some kind. I don't know what, but yeah, seems like when you're an unlicensed accessory maker, it's in your best interest not to rock the boat of the company you're essentially making money off of without getting the proper licensing for it. Kind of seems like a thing that I'm not surprised happened to them. So yeah, there you go. But yeah,
and then we got this. They got this bullshit right here.
Yeah, Aspire has been caught using AI to adapt the French voice actor for Lara Croft in the Tomb Raider 4 through 6 collection. Francoise Cadol, the French voice of Lara Croft in I think each of those games. She was pretty prolific in France because she's done all that. She did the French dub for Angelina Jolie in the Tomb Raider films, as well as voicing for probably quite a while for that character. Much longer than obviously the English ones have, as they've changed those every few years. She has, I don't think she's filed suit. She's essentially notified them of their need to, yeah, they've issued a formal notice to Aspire requesting the compilation be withdrawn with supporting documentation to determine the number of copies sold, essentially trying to find out what sort of damages they would request here because she was not hired to do any additional voice acting. So if, she did voice acting for, calling out buttons and such in like a tutorial, it seems like they used AI to make adjustments to that stuff, but still be her voice,
Mm-hmm.
essentially. Yeah, she mentioned that she found this out from fans mentioning it to her, saying, I call them the guardians of the voices. Very quickly, these buyers of the compilation realized that the voice of Lara Croft, who gives gameplay instructions, was not mine. It caused a real uproar among the community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they claim the issue arose with the 4 through 6 remastered patch 2, released on August 14th, which added restored lines from the original game.
Mm-hmm.
It's claimed, however, that the developer publisher Aspire used AI to replicate her voice for these lines rather than having her re-record the lines herself, which I imagine would not be that expensive. But the whole point is not having to pay them at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, her lawyer specializes in IP and AI claims. Says you can immediately notice the alleged AI voice has a very strong metallic impact and is very chopped without intonation. He claims it was the actress's voice that was used to recreate this artificial voice, and accused Aspire of misleading consumers. She claims the replication of using AI would be a betrayal and total disrespect to fans. So, yeah, she says, or no, the lawyer says, decency would have been to inform the public concerned that it wasn't their voice, but they just said they restored the original lines, and people figured out quickly that it was not actually her. With these adjustments to the voice in these lines,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah. So yeah, that's a fun situation to get into. It's easily avoidable if they did any work to get her on board. But yeah, that's the fun part of this whole thing. So there you go.
Mm.
But yeah,
Yeah, just that is AI bullshit, man.
yeah,
Just, I mean, what else can you say? We knew shit like this was going to happen, and like, here it is.
yeah,
If it's like, you don't ever put the common goodness of humanity up on a pedestal because they will always fail you in the end.
yeah.
There will
So yeah,
always be someone to exploit it.
yeah. But yeah, there you go for that. So let's get to our showcases here. We got the Acclaim showcase here, which was basically what I expected, in that they were publishing a bunch of indie games. There are a couple of interesting stuff here. That is pretty interesting. Let's see. Yeah, there's Grid Beats, which was a neat looking game. This is sort of a rhythm dungeon crawler kind of thing. For things they only announced PC, but I guess they're also going to bring them to consoles at some point. But likely to be just PC at launch for most of these games. So there's that. It seems like a lot of these will be out next year.
Mm-hmm.
No dates on most of them, so there's that. There's Basketball Classics, which is a game that's been out on Steam for a while. It seems like they swooped in and helped get a version published.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be later, I assume next year at some point. But it's a neat looking game. It's got a very retro kind of basketball style to it. And they mentioned like tons of teams to it because I think they essentially have unlicensed rosters for the last several decades of NBA basketball. But
Mm-hmm.
these are listed as Minnesota versus Toronto instead of having the Timberwolves and the Toronto Raptors. And like
Mm-hmm.
they have like mini games for when you go to dunk. That gives the defender an option to try to block it, that kind of stuff, or the offensive player trying to dunk it, all that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And the characters don't have face in these modes, which I think is because
Mm-hmm.
they're versions of actual photos of people, of players.
Mm-hmm.
I think removing as much detail so they're legally distinct versions of this.
Yeah.
Because I think they showed in the trailer a point shot being made
Mm.
by somebody that's
Yeah.
definitely Steph Curry, but is legally a distinct Steph Curry
Yeah.
and all that. And I'm like, all right, there's some attitude to this that I can appreciate, and all that. So yeah, this could be a neat game. It's available now on Steam. Like I sell right now,
Mm-hmm.
so you can get it for $3.50. If you want to check it out, it seems to have pretty positive reviews.
Yep.
But you can also, wait for the Switch version. But yeah,
Mm.
that was one of the more interesting games that got announced. Because like this has been out for a while. And it's like, yeah, it seems like they're Switch. So that's particularly why they want to swoop in for that.
Mm-hmm.
This Ground Zero Hero, which seems like an auto shooting survival game of a sort from the way it looks, where the art style seems to be aping a number of things. It very much seems to have the Simpsons art style to it because all the characters have that kind of overbite look to them,
Mm-hmm.
as well as some characters that look like they're off-brand Homer and other
Yeah.
Simpsons characters.
It does. It really does kind of look like Matt Groening's art style.
Yeah, with a bit of Plants vs Zombies.
Yeah, there's a little drama. Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
which makes it just look like a weird art style to it,
Mm-hmm.
but could be neat. But yeah, as I said, that'll be out next year for that. So yeah, Steam, maybe consoles at some point.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Pixel Watcher. This is very much a pixel art power washing game.
Mm-hmm.
I've played this before because the game had an itch page, which you could play like a web demo version of the
Mm-hmm.
game, which played pretty well.
Mm.
But now, if you go and search for that itch page, it's gone.
Mm.
Or the page is there, the demo's gone, so you can't try it out anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be coming to Steam and maybe consoles at some point next year. But this is one I was like, all right, this is one I actually knew, so that's neat.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's kind of a 2D top-down power washing game. So you're not, getting all up in these different things you're cleaning, but you're kind of swooping a cursor over these items to clean them off. But it seems like they also have a bunch of different side things. Like there's almost kind of a, I forget the card game where you're trying to pull up two cards that are all flipped over, two of the same kind. I forget what that kind of game is called.
Mm.
They have that, but you're essentially washing off the card to reveal what it is. Concentration, I think, is that kind of thing. So there's a lot of neat stuff looking in that one. So there's that. Let's see. There's Talaka, which is a combat heavy roguelite action game that I think is set in Afro Brazilian mythology. It has a really neat art style to it that looks really neat. Yeah, that one. It's like one of the more arty kind of games out of this showcase, and that'll be out sometime next year.
Mm.
There's Toss Down, which seemed to be a nonsense game.
Mm-hmm.
The delivery action game, as they call it here. We're trying to deliver packages in a world where everything's out to kill you. Escape wild hazards, enemies, all that stuff. So, yeah, it's kind of one of those games where there's just a bunch of stuff being thrown at you while you're trying to deliver these things. So, there's that. There's the Prisoning Fletcher's Quest, which is a Metroid game, but a very silly one of those. That looks neat. That'll be out next year's Hyper Yuki Snowboard Syndicate. This is an SSX style
Mm-hmm.
game, arcade snowboarding game from the
Oh yeah.
GK or Rakugaki developers,
Mm-hmm.
Wabi Sabi Games. So that looks really neat.
Ooh yeah.
So yeah, that one's one that's gotten people's attention.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one they ended on is a game called Catanuts that came out at the same time as the showcase. It's a side-scrolling roguelite action game with Metroid elements to it. Um, yeah, with some got some like horror vibes to it, as there's a lot of like goopy monsters you're killing and all that,
Yep.
but you got a sword and gun to take them down with
Mm-hmm.
and all that. So that looks neat. So there's that, and that was our showcase, which is
Mm-hmm.
basically as we expected, a bunch of small indie games they picked up to publish, and depending on how well they do, they
Mm-hmm.
can expand the level of indie games and such they'll publish and
Yep.
produce. So we'll see how that stuff goes, but that's what you can expect out of Acclaim.
Yeah, I haven't found the time or the chance to watch their showcase yet, but even though like my interest in a lot of these games is minimal, like the main thing I'm interested in is probably the SSX kind of like cousin, if anything. It's having a bunch of indies is definitely a great way to like say you're back. Obviously, Acclaim is known for like having a whole bunch of like popular IP back in the '90s, right? They were known for a lot of the stuff that Midway eventually took over. But yeah, like this doesn't mean that they can't go back to that, especially if like they see some success from any of these. I just hope their owners aren't looking to make money hand over fist because that'll just lead to more studio closures. But I'd
Mm-hmm.
say they're on the right track with this.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Let's get to the Nintendo Direct because there's a decent amount in here. They started off with others selling the or celebrating the 40th anniversary of Mario,
Mm-hmm.
which I would say they're not doing much celebrating. Um, they announced the title of the new Mario movie, which is called the Super Mario Galaxy movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be taking to space with I don't know if they're going to do the exact same story as Super Mario Galaxy, but they'll probably at least hit on a number of notes from that with probably a lot of other stuff thrown in. If it's
Mm-hmm.
anything like the original movie. That'll be out on April 3rd next year, so not too far away.
Mm.
For that, and yeah, they had a little teaser trailer kind of to announce the trailer. Like no voices or anything, just camera kind of sweeping through the Mushroom Kingdom before it shows what the movie's going to be essentially about. So
Mm.
that's basically it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they mentioned like the museum and a couple other things. They're gonna have some different little tag thing they give you when you go to the museum. As far as I know, it's really hard to get into it, so that's a whatever announcement. But then they started talking about some games, and they announced, to go with the movie, that they're doing a Super Mario Galaxy and Galaxy 2 collection. So you have a second opportunity to buy Super Mario Galaxy on the Switch.
Yep.
These are Switch games, so no Switch 2 versions. I assume
Mm-hmm.
it'll be run smoother if it needs to on the Switch 2, but it'll be $70 for the bundle. But if you already have Galaxy in the 3D collection, they you can buy Galaxy 2 for $39.99, which is a lot for that came out at $50 about 12, 13 years ago, something like that. That would have been probably like 15 years ago at this point. So yeah, they have, I think, a lot of the same improvements that Galaxy got in that collection. So you can play it without, needing motion controls for that stuff. But yeah, that's a neat. Yeah, they mentioned yeah, feature enhanced resolution. Let's see, assist mode. Yeah, there's extra storybook chapters, and they put the storybook thing in both games. So if you get just one of them, you get that part of it. So there's a soundtrack mode. Yeah, there's gonna be amiibos for Galaxy stuff, which I think is just Mario and Rosalina. But yeah, that's about it. They're really adding to this. Yeah, those prices are a little bit much for my
Mm-hmm.
taste, especially because I don't think I liked Galaxy 2 as much as 1. and I feel like for me, Galaxy 1 kind of aged a bit poorly, just because I don't like the live system in that game, where no matter how many lives you collect when you're playing the game, when you come back the next day, it'll be reset to 5 lives.
Mm.
They don't carry any of that stuff over. It's just kind of an annoyance. You can literally go read my review of the original game and see where I mention it. Where I'm like, this is fucking annoying, especially because I
Mm.
remember stopping before the final boss fights and coming back and realized, like, oh, all those lives are gone. This is much harder and all that. So yeah, luckily they don't do that much anymore. But yeah, there's that collection.
Mm.
Let's see the other Mario stuff they're doing. They're doing a new Mario Tennis game called Fever. I guess the new things they mentioned that they're adding is special power up rackets, and you can pick up power ups on the courts that'll do things. Say more elemental stuff, like you can hit the ball to create like a big ice spot on the opponent's side of the courts, and they will slide around even more so. And fire spots that will cause them to run around, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, they did a lot of commentary, and they're like, looks on like, oh, look how he slides for a bit when he goes to stop running across the courts. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's a tennis thing. You can do
Mhm.
jumps, like dive jumps to try and hit the ball, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a lot of that kind of stuff. Hopefully it's good, because I feel like the last few tennis games have been underwhelming.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's any like RPG element to it, so there's that. They do have some other mode. I forget what it was exactly, but yeah, there's that. And then let's see, yeah, they announced a Switch 2 upgrade for Super Mario Brothers Wonder called Meetup in Bellabelle Park, which for what they showed here seems to be multiplayer mini games.
Mhm.
They do mention there's other things, but I figure if there was campaign stuff, they would have mentioned that. Because all they figured is focused on here was a bunch of different little like mini game competitions you can have with people you're playing locally with.
Mhm.
I guess it'll probably look and run a little bit better, but that's out next spring. Um, I forgot to mention the Galaxy Collection's out October 2nd, so a few weeks away. Mario Tennis Fever is February 12th of next year. Otherwise, you'll see spring 2026 a lot in this showcase because that's where a lot of this other stuff is coming.
Mhm.
And they ended the Mario segments with a Yoshi game.
Yep.
Yoshi and the Mysterious Book for the Switch 2. That looks pretty.
Mhm.
It's got a little bit of storybook look to it. That's out spring 2026. Yeah. Seems like you're collecting unusual creatures for this book. That seems like you're collectible for each stage.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't recall there being too much other stuff. Seems like
Mhm.
there's less of the egg stuff to this one, so you can just kind of jump around and grab these creatures and do whatever the stages require of you. Probably going to be on the easier side because that's what the Yoshi games are generally going to be. But like they had some neat stuff going on here, so that
Mhm.
was somewhat promising. And that's your Mario block, your
Mhm.
celebration for Mario this year,
Mhm.
which doesn't seem like much for the 40th anniversary,
Mhm.
but I guess that's
Yeah.
what they've got.
Mm.
Then they moved on to other games. There's Storm Lancers that is out now. It's a launch exclusive for the Switch. This is a side-scrolling roguelike action game that you can get now. So there's that. Then there's Dinkum, which is a timed console exclusive. This is out November 6th. I believe this is a craft-in game that they're publishing it. It's a survival life simulation game. It looks like off-brand meat, but set in an environment very much it's Australia, complete with kangaroos and all that around there, and kind of mostly deserty areas. But yeah, you're able to play with other people if you want, or you can play solo and just build out a town and have NPCs join you. So there, run shops and do all that kind of stuff. Looks neat, but yeah, that's November 6th. There's a demo out now, so people can check that out ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got another game here, Popucom. It seemed like what is it? Not Zynga. What's the Zuma? That puzzle game.
Mm.
What if you took that concept and put it in like a cooperative, action adventure game? Basically, as you have these puzzles show up. It's multiplayer only, so you have to have at least 2 people. I think 2 to 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
And each character has 2 colors that they can use, so in kind of a portal co-op kind of sense. One player can handle certain obstacles, and other players can handle others.
Mm-hmm.
You got to work together on all that stuff. And a lot of the enemies are basically they have a bunch of colored balls on their tail that you have to shoot to get 3 row to destroy them and kill the enemy that way. I assume get all their bubbles popped. That's out this holiday.
Mm.
Seems neat. I haven't seen anybody try to put Zuma into an action game, so
Mm-hmm.
props for that. Yeah, then we got back to Nintendo stuff. Tomodachi Life, Living the Dream. We come to Switch next spring. They kind of showed off a little bit of that,
Mm-hmm.
which seemed like the other Tomodachi Life games. Make your characters, you have them live in a town. Let them do their thing. If you want to, you can try to have them meet up with other people and
Mm-hmm.
become friends, and then they'll have their like news segments and all this other stuff where their like Vocaloid voice will announce the news about the town and whatever. That stuff's neat. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then we got some more dates. Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. We finally have a date for that, October 30th.
Yep.
So there's your Halloween game. That's on everything.
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, Switch 2, and PC. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade will be out on Xbox and Switch 2 January 22nd of next year.
Mm-hmm.
So not too far away for that stuff. Linked Banner of the Spark is out for Switch and Switch 2 now. That's the like action arcade game. Nothing big mix of genres there.
Mm-hmm.
Hades 2 got a date for September 25th for a Switch and Switch 2 and PC. It's a console launch exclusive, so the other console's not getting it for a while.
Mm.
Then yeah, we got Kirby Air Riders. They announced the amiibos for the game, or at least the first 2 amiibos,
Mm.
Which features Bandana Waddle Dee and Kirby on their little riders. And the neat thing is that they can be detached from their rider and swapped
Mm-hmm.
between. And you can use those kind of like Smash Brothers, where they become a character that can level up as they kind of race against you and kind of earn experience to level up and all that. And apparently these are $50 amiibos, which I assume is because they have extra data in them and they're interchangeable and all that. So it's able to tell, which bases are with which characters and all that, and that's going to cost more. I don't know. $50 more is all, but and the Trump tariff stuff is also an issue. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
the prices for these things are going up, so there's that. They're also going to have a second direct for the game coming soon. I don't know what else they're going to talk about that. That first one seemed pretty full of stuff, but I'm sure Sakurai can ramble on for another 40 minutes if he wants.
Mm-hmm.
There's that. Then we got Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment is going to be out on November 6th. Switch 2. That'll be a $70 game. Kind of doing all the stuff we know about. There's split screen local multiplayer or game share multiplayer. For that, they're going to have 2 amiibos. Or no. These are just any of the regular Zelda amiibos you can put on this to get stuff. Yeah, I saw what the amiibos for Galaxy and Galaxy 2 do. They give lives.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh great, the thing you really need in those games. What else do we have here? Dragon Quest VII Reimagined got shown.
Mm-hmm.
So they have another remake on the way.
Yep. And I believe Dragon Quest VII was the PlayStation one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was their one attempt on the PS1.
Yeah.
That was an alright game.
Mm-hmm.
I guess canonically it takes place after the original trilogy,
Mm-hmm.
but I also find it's weird they skipped 4 through 6 in this remake business. And I'd say the art style for this that they showed up here is not great.
Mm.
At least for the characters, they look super plasticky.
Mm-hmm.
The areas themselves, the environments, which are done in sort of a diorama style, so they kind of have a realistic look to them.
Mm-hmm.
Characters don't. They kind of clash a little bit for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it'll be fine whenever it launches, but yeah, they got special editions. So if you want to spend a shitload of money, you can do that on the Square Enix store. Yeah, it comes with a ship in a bottle figure and a slime plush. So there you go, a bunch of extra stuff if you want that. Yeah, that'll be out February 5th, 2026. So that's almost my birthday and your birthday, Brandon. So there's that.
Yep.
Then we got probably the biggest surprise of this entire showcase. They're adding Virtual Boy to the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack, which is like, okay, that's weird.
Mm.
It'll have 14 games eventually. They're not going to launch with all of them because why would they? Because
Mm-hmm.
this is a platform that really did not have very many games. It was like maybe 20 or so at most. I forget how much were released by the end. I'm going to double check how many games that was. But yeah, it's a platform that basically had you looking in this kind of VR-ish kind of headset
Mm-hmm.
that comes in this like weird stand, and the controller is actually kind of what if you took the NES controller and made it also look like the Nintendo 64 controller almost? Or kind of
Mm.
these two handles with D-pads on both sides, but also the A and B buttons and start and select buttons. Almost kind of
Mm-hmm.
like what you might expect out of like the modern VR controller
Yep.
kind of style. But yeah, let me see how many games they had here. Uh, yeah, this is not very much. 22 games, officially released games.
Mm.
8 were exclusive to Japan, 3 to North America. The other 11 were released in both regions. So that's not a lot, not many third parties bothered with this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, we're getting 14 of those games. 3D Tetris, Galactic Pinball, Golf, Mario Clash, Mario's Tennis,
Mm-hmm.
Innsmouth, no Yakata, Jack Brothers, which I believe is an Atlas game. That is the
Mm-hmm.
Jack from the Shin Megami Tensei and Persona games.
Mm-hmm.
It might be his origin game. I forget. No, because he would have been on the NES. I think. But yeah, Jack Frost, Jack Lantern, or Jack Skeleton. So,
Mm-hmm.
Red Alert, Space Invaders, Hello Boxer, Vertical Force, Virtual
Mm.
Bowling, Virtual Boy Warrior Land, and V Tetris.
Yeah.
Um, which some of those are pretty decent games.
Some of them are and have the unfortunate, infamy of having been released for the Virtual Boy.
Yeah, but I believe the thing's been emulated at this point, um, with ways of making it look just fine on a 2D screen. But Nintendo said, screw playing it on the Switch 2 itself, being able to play it on your TV through
Mm-hmm.
that. You need to have hardware for that. So they have announced shells, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
The main shell is basically a Virtual Boy, but you put the Switch 2 tablet into it. and you use the Joy-Cons as the controllers for it. That is $100 for that thing. And yeah, that's basically what a Virtual Boy looked like. But if you don't want to spend that much, there's a cardboard version. That is $25. And yeah, that doesn't look super comfortable because it is literally just a cardboard version of the headset part of it. Where you put the Switch 2 in there with the Joy-Cons still on it.
Yep.
And that looks pretty uncomfortable. You would have to just hold that up yourself to your face. So yeah, there's no way to through the Switch or Switch 2 to play this on your TV and with that, no way to stream it through that way. I'm sure somebody will find a way to do that, but it'd probably be much easier just to emulate it and play them that way. Because yeah, those games, much like the Game Boy, where the games looked greenish. This is Reddit games. That's what the colors of the screens were projecting them as. So yeah, you not only have to have the expansion pack subscription for $50 for the year, you have to have at least $25 for the hardware to play them the way that Nintendo allows. Those are required for it. So yeah, that's just a weird whole setup there. I kind of wish you could also just play them, but that's not what Nintendo wants at the moment. I'm gonna bet not many people buy this thing, but they will start putting games in there on, let's see, February 17th. They haven't announced when they're going to allow pre-orders for this stuff. I'm going to very much try not to order one of these things, but I might. The cardboard one looks so bad, I don't want to buy that. So I don't want to be forced to buy the $100 one just to do it properly. Yeah, I never did a Virtual Boy, and I don't know that I want a fake one. But there you go. That was a neat announcement, but I'm also like, practicality, I don't know where that's going for that thing. But yeah. Get back to the games. Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly is getting a remake for PS5, Xbox, Switch, and PC. That's early next year. Then they announced a bunch of stuff that's getting upgrades for the Switch 2. There's One Piece Pirate Warriors 4. It's also getting upgrades on PS5 and Xbox sometime this fall. Overcooked 2 is getting one. I think that's a $10 upgrade for the Switch 2. Yeah, they have they use the camera for the little overlay thing. 4K 60 frames per second support, enhanced graphics, game share support, and new Platinum Platypus Chef. So a little bonus there for that. Let's see, Stardew Valley is getting an upgrade. I believe that's a free upgrade. Which just means that game keeps selling more and more. Yeah, it seems like it'll run and look a little bit better, but mostly you can use the Joy-Con. I think just one is play it more like the PC version. But also supports 4-player split screen, co-op play, and 8-player online play. So support for that multiplayer stuff they've been working on, and also supports the game share stuff. So that's neat. And Human Fall Flat is also getting an upgrade. That's in spring. Stardew's Fall, Overcook's Holiday, so later this year. But Human Fall Flat in spring. I don't know if they mentioned the price for this thing yet. But yeah, it's some new areas. I assume it runs a bit better. So yeah. Yeah, all current and future levels, online multiplayer up to 8 players, and yeah, more stuff to do in that game. So there's that. Then they showed Power Wash Simulator 2 just to confirm it's coming to the Switch 2. I think it was just the Switch, but they finally got dev kits for that. No date, so fuck this announcement. Let's see. Suika Game Planet is the sequel to Suika Game. And yeah, it's a timed console exclusive, it seems. I did not hear that, but they mention it here. this winter, kind of the big thing, instead of filling up a box, you're kind of rotating around this circular area that
Yep.
the fruit's going into, and the like ones together goes up to the next fruit, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
It has local multiplayer, I think, or co-op. So yeah, there's that.
Yep.
And yeah, we got Metroid Prime 4 Beyond with a very weird trailer that could have used the narrator they used for a lot of the other trailers. Because yeah, they showed what looked like an open world of some sorts.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. You got a motorbike that she's
Yep.
got. It's called Viola,
Mm-hmm.
which is weird. First I was like, wait, is this some racing game? They're doing a Metroid racing game or something. But no, that's just the things you can use to get around the environment.
Mm-hmm.
It has all the same Metroidy stuff, scanning creatures and all that stuff
Oh yeah.
from what it showed here. I would hope there's a direct for this because I would like to know more about exactly what's going on here because
Mm-hmm.
there's kind of trailer with a bunch of random stuff and you're like, okay, wait, is this open world? What's going on here?
Mm.
But yeah, that's they got a date, December 4th, so right before the end of the year.
Mm.
Have to rush through that to see if it's going to be in your game of the year, but there you go. Yeah, then DK Bonanza got a new DLC that's out now. $20 adds DK Island in this Emerald Rush mode, which is sort of a Rublish mode.
Yeah.
You're busting a bunch of this emerald stuff that's as you get to different levels of it, you get perks you can pick. That'll make it easier to do different things. So that looks neat, but it's $20. And it's out pretty soon after this game where I'm like, boy, that was pretty quick. For what you expect out of Nintendo, where they usually take a while to put DLC out.
Yeah.
They're ready pretty quickly. And it seems like you have to beat the main game, so I'm not there yet. So not gonna bother with this for a while. So there's that. Then it showed Pokemon Pokopia, which is them doing their own, life sim game.
Oh yeah.
It's basically a Ditto is taking human form, and as new Pokemon show up, they learn abilities from them that allows them to, do your farm sim stuff, set up gardens, build stuff, take down trees, and all that kind of stuff. So that looks neat. They showed Pokemon Legends ZA, which is out in October. November. There's an expansion called Mega Dimension featuring Raichu in an X and Y form in the Mega Evolution stuff. That'll be out by the end of February at the latest, I guess.
Yeah.
That'll be $3 for that. So there's that. Danganronpa 2 is getting a remaster or a remake. Or no, remaster, I think. Danganronpa 2x2.
Yep.
So they're remastering the game and adding a little extra scenario at the end.
Yep.
That'll be on everything: PlayStation 5, Xbox, Switch, and Switch 2 and PC. Sometime next year. Dynasty Warriors Origins is coming to the Switch 2, as well as a DLC expand that's going to be out January 22nd for everything. So
yeah,
there's that. Monster Hunter Stories 3 will be out March 13th. 2 Point Museum will be out October 28th. Disguise 7 Complete on October 10th. Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake got a new trailer. That'll be out October 30th. Persona 3 Reload's out the 23rd of October. Has a demo out now. And then they ended on 2 big announcements. Resident Evil Requiem's coming to the Switch 2 at launch.
Yep.
On February 27th. And they're also bringing 7 and 8 over on the same day, which I don't know why they do that. So I give people some space to play 7 and 8 and Requiem, but no, they're expecting all the lunatics to be there and to buy them all at once at full price. So there's that, and then Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave is the new Fire Emblem game. It'll be out next
Yep.
year. I guess it's supposed to be a prequel to Three Houses.
A prequel or a sequel could be either one.
Yeah.
The fact that there are two things that sort of lend it to the idea that it's a sequel. One is the fact that we see, you may have mentioned, you see the sword that Diedrich, the Alucard lookalike, uses. That's the same sword that you see in the game in Three Houses. And also the fact that Sothis, that green-haired girl from Three Houses, is now back and a fully grown woman now, which lead me to think this is a sequel. Possibly a distant one, but a sequel nonetheless. And yeah, I was like, to be completely honest, with like one or two exceptions, I thought that this direct was kind of a bust for the most part. This is the one that saved it for me.
Yeah. I had this spoiled for me because I was watching it on the YouTube app while I was at work. And the YouTube app likes to show you related trailers, and it's like, hey, do you want to watch the trailer for Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave? And I'm like, what? Like, oh, that must be in this. And then I saw, oh, it was at the end. That was supposed to be a surprise. Like, oh, okay. So that's that. Yeah, they don't really have any details on the story. Stuff just about the heroic games. And they just say it's a new entry, so
yep.
Very, very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
For Nintendo. So yeah. That looks like a more I haven't got through Three Houses, so I'm not anywhere close to checking this one out. But
I am loving like how this new one has more like of a sort of like Mediterranean, sort of Iberian peninsula type of taste to it, with like heavy bits of the Roman Empire thrown in.
Yeah, it takes place, at least chunks of it, in like a big coliseum where these games are at. So the other ones are taking place out of that. So I don't know. This is like a tournament arc. Essentially,
Could
it looks
be.
like.
I'm not sure, but damn, does it look good.
Yeah. But yeah, let's Brandon, what did you like out of this showcase? What's interesting to you?
Well, like I said, Fire Emblem, more than anything, was the big one. And the fact that it's actually like they decided to take the hint and make it like heavily, apparently tying it into Three Houses, after the kind of middling blah that was Fire Emblem Engage, shows that they're smart and they know what they're doing. But on top of that, let's see, the Dragon Quest VII reimagining was pretty neat looking. I never got to play that one. I would actually really like to play this reimagined version of it. Let's see. Hades 2 also is a big one. I really loved the first one, and I really want to play this Hades 2. I have not played like any of the public access stuff because I don't want any of it spoiled for me. But yeah, it looks amazing, and I really want to play it like really badly. Other than that, like really, well, obviously Metroid Prime 4 was a big one. Because I mean it's Metroid Prime, and I wanted to play another Metroid Prime game for the longest of long times. And hopefully, if everything goes well this Christmas, I'll finally get a chance. I'll get a chance to play it. But pretty much, other than that, nothing else really grabbed me.
How about you, Dana?
Yeah, I'm going to sort of disagree with Brandon that this was a bust. What I do like is there's a whole lot of like quantity here. Like, yeah, we can go ahead and talk about quality, but quantity is really going to matter, especially when we're at the first year of a launch. That being said, I do have some observations before I talk about what I'm excited about. And the observation is Nintendo seems to have changed their stance on premium DLC. Almost every DLC they mentioned in this direct was like not free anymore. And like some of it makes sense. Like, for example, I can totally understand, paying whatever you have to pay for the DK Island and Emerald Rush. Like it's pretty cool that they're turning Donkey Kong Bonanza into a roguelike, and at the same time, like they released it right away. I don't think anybody expected DLC to come out that fast. Not to mention it came out before, everyone even talks about a Mario Kart DLC, which I think is something that is sorely needed for that right now. But yeah, we also saw a lot of Switch 2 editions of games that already have been out for a while, like Overcooked 2, Stardew Valley, Human Fall Flat. And I don't see why these are necessary. Unless you really want to go for the 4K 120 frames per second. Like, I don't think that actually matters with these three games. And at the same time, like, I'm not seeing a whole lot of value with a whole lot of Switch 2 edition games. Like, Kirby like came out a few weeks ago. I forgot even existed. Mario Party is scoring lower than it did when it first came out on the Switch 1. And this one for Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Meet Up in Bella Bell Park. I am excited for the single player aspect. I do not care at all for the multiplayer stuff. So that's definitely a questionable one. And yeah, I also agree with Chris that they didn't really celebrate Mario's 4th anniversary all that much.
Nope.
I mean, at least with the 35th anniversary, they had that Switch online game like with the where they had to race each other, and like that was pretty cool. And here you don't really see anything of the type. And I'm sorry, but Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, as beautiful as it looks, that's not a Mario game. So I don't see why we're gonna have this be the crown jewel of the Mario announcements. That being said, starting off the direct with Mario Galaxy the movie was fantastic. Like I reacted hard to that one at 6 a.m. and I'm really excited for that one to come out. I'm excited to see who Rosalina ends up being. They're probably not going to go with the story like frame for frame, but that's definitely something I'm excited to see. But yeah, moving on with the rest of the stuff that I'm excited for. Yeah, Hades 2 is another one, even though I've never actually finished the first one. I'm just not good at that kind of game. And Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, like Brandon, I never actually played the original game, and I do have 2 of the 3DS versions, so I don't know if I want to pop it anymore now that they've shown this. And Metroid Prime 4 Beyond looks really cool. I don't know, think about it going open world if they actually go that route. At the same time, it's definitely cool to see it hit December. That definitely takes it out of the running for the Game Awards, but for us, it can definitely still qualify, and let's hope it gets there. Mega Dimension DLC for Pokemon Legends ZA was definitely also a really cool thing to see. And yeah, Fire Emblem is also like one thing that I'm really excited for. I'm really looking forward to seeing like that new art style, that new setting. It all looks really cool. But yeah, just going back to what my favorite was. My favorite was definitely Dragon Quest 7. Like I am expecting 12 at this point, but the fact that we're gonna go to 7 and read that in an art style outside of the HD 2D is definitely cool. I don't know what the strategy is there, but I do know that 7, 8, and 11, if they were to be remade, you can't do HD 2D because all these games were already 3D to begin with. So it is pretty cool to see them go with the art style there. But yeah, there was definitely a lot of content. I really wish we got another like real new Mario game. Like that is definitely a black hole to me. But aside from that, like I like what I saw. Ending with Fire Emblem was definitely an interesting choice, and we definitely got the Metroid Beyond date, and that was cool. Oh, one thing I want to touch upon is the Pokemon Pocopia. Like that is weird. I don't know if I care to play that kind of game, but at the same time, I do appreciate the creativity going into that. Like, I never would have thought of Ditto being like a human and like doing all this weird stuff. And like, this defines weird, and this is the exact kind of thing that I want to see out of, Pokemon like that. Although it is interesting that it's coming from Koei Tecmo, I think. So, but yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. For me, this was a showcase that was all right. I don't think there was a ton here that I am super excited for on the Switch, at least. Because yeah, like Yoshi the Mysterious Book, I'm interested in, but that doesn't have a date, so it's not one I'm really all that psyched about or anything. I was hoping like Jeff Gersman was talking over the stream just to hear him be like, "You're celebrating Mario with Yoshi," because he fucking hates Yoshi in all of his games. Been fucking hilarious to see that. But yeah, it's definitely not. Mario's not even in it, so it's a weird way to celebrate the Mario thing. But yeah, that's kind of where Nintendo's kind of stretching things here. But yeah, like Tomodachi Life, I'm interested in. Also, a spring game, so that's a ways off. Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, I'm excited for, but not on the Switch. Hades 2, I'm excited for, but I got that on PC in the early access version, so I'll just play that when that's finally done. But yeah, if you want to get through it, Dan Reb, there is like a God mode that they have for the first game, so it makes it much easier if you want to just get through it and see the story stuff in there, and not necessarily have to stress yourself out with all the challenging combat. They do make that a little bit easier to do. But yeah, um, let's see what else here. Yeah, like Power Wash Simulator 2, but no dates, and not even it's not even the version I'm gonna check out for that. Maybe Suika Game Planet, but that's also winter, so whatever. I'll probably check out Metroid Prime 4. The weird thing is I've never played 2 and 3, despite owning I own 2 on the GameCube, and I own that trilogy collection on the Wii slash Wii U. I could play that. It's weird. They're finally got this game out and never got 2 and 3 remaster remade for the Switch. It seems like a loss, a missed chance there to have all 4 games ready for launch. So there's that. And like, I'll check out that DLC at some point for Donkey Kong Bonanza, but I'm still working my way through that game, so no point in worrying about that. And Pocopia, I'm actually interested in, but that's next year at some point. I just like the conceit of Ditto learning new moves to clear out, trees and grass and all that from other Pokemon. The way the trailer goes, it looks like Ditto's doing all the work, and the other Pokemon just freeloading off of him, and all that. So there's that. And yeah, like I've got Dragon Quest 7 on the 3DS, and I've played a few hours of that, and I'm like, I don't know that this Dragon Quest is the one I would have wanted. I think I would have liked them starting on 4 through 6, or just going to 8, because that's the only other game really of note that they could remaster remake that I think people would really care about. 7, they still keep trying to force on people, and I don't know that that's going to change with this one even, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm kind of interested in Fire Emblem, but as I've said, I've still got 3 houses to work through, so I'm not exactly burning through that yet. So I'll get to that at some point, but that's not one I'm going to get at launch. So yeah, it kind of makes this showcase. Got some stuff, but a lot of it's things I'll be waiting till early next year or just next year in general for a lot of this stuff. Like I'd maybe be interested in Super Mario Galaxy 2 at $20, but not 40. Considering that that's just a weird way they're releasing that stuff, but yeah, that's it's a solid direct, but it's not one that has a ton of stuff I'm interested in. But yeah, if they show more of that Metroid Prime 4 in like its own direct, that would be nice to see, because I would love to see like what the heck the framework of this game is. Because right now it's like, from what I know of, Metroid 1 and some of 2 and 3, like this seems like they're taking into a much bigger game. But yeah, that's kind of it. But yeah, thank you to Brandon Danner for joining us this week. We'll be back next week with a new slate of news and games to talk about and all that as we inch closer to October and the spooky season. Though, if you go to your stores, you'd see probably Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas stuff all at the same time. I think the place I go to, I saw watermelons and pumpkins, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? That's how you know shit's going off in the climate change stuff. And you got pumpkins and watermelons all at the same time. But yeah, I think it's going to end up doing it. Thank you for checking out this podcast, and feel free to let friends and family know about it, and encourage others to check out the show. and select strangers that are also excited about various games coming out from Nintendo in the near future. So yeah, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you have a good one. See you all next time, and yeah, have a good one.